Hello, everyone. It is Sunday night, and we are coming to you live from inside of Bat City Comic Professionals in Bradenton, Florida, to talk to you about all of the latest and greatest in indie and small press new releases. As always, I'm your host, Shannon, aka Small Press Shann, here to get you excited about a bunch of books that you are going to definitely need to run to a local comic shop and order today or pick up off the wall. It's 2 weeks worth of books. We've got the 21st and the 28th of May coming your way, so there's going to be quite a lot tonight. Not one of those crazy weeks where we're like, it's over 100 books, but we're going to do our best to help you wind down your weekend with some really great books. And of course, if we're going to wind down our weekend, we've got to have some wine. So we are drinking Barton and Guestier Bordeaux, which is a whole bunch of stuff. It is like a blend of a Merlot, a Cab Sauv, and a Cab Franc, which, of course, if you watch the show, you know Cab Francs are Matt's favorites. It has a ton of all of the things that we say we like all the time in it. Blackberry, blueberry, it's got some of that cocoa flavor in it. It is supposed to have some really, like, honestly, if you mention your tannins that much, they're probably pretty strong. And then it is supposed to be really a spicy aftertaste. So this is going to be a bottle that definitely opens up, especially because it is a blend of those kind of like strong flavored wines. It's going to open up as it goes, but we're going to take this initial drink just to see what it tastes like. Oh, wow.
Oh.
That's very smooth.
Very light.
Mm-hmm. Very light. But still has like a good fruit flavor to it, like immediately. Not as spicy as like the bottle led me to believe. But that means that that's going to open up to the spice later. If you're saying it's on the aftertaste, that means it's probably one of those where the wine needs to like open up for it.
Most Bordeaux's that we've had have been really jammy. Mm-hmm. This is not as jammy as most Bordeaux's that we've had.
Yeah, not as jammy. But it does actually taste like one of the jams that we have, so that's kind of funny that it's not like a jammy texture, but it is in flavor. Yeah.
Spicier that time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely very good. I can't wait to see like what happens. It's interesting because it is on like the Merlot blend is the strong side, but it's still not as sweet as I would expect it to be with like 60% of it being Merlot. So anyway, we're going to be drinking this and hanging out. If you're hanging out with us, we'd love to hear from you. Let us know if you're, watching it live or if you're watching it later on YouTube. Either way, we want to know what you're up to and what you've been reading and the things that you're really enjoying right now, because there's a lot of good books on the shelves, and so we want to make sure we're hearing what everybody likes and not just what came out this week, but in general. We had a lot that's been going on recently. Obviously, we weren't here last week. We were in London for MCM Comic Con. A huge thank you to ReadPop for having us out there to talk about things that we're doing in stores, things that we could be doing in stores, how to build that customer experience, fun kinds of things like that. We had a really great chance to hang out with some old friends and new, and just really talk about comics on an international scale, which was a really cool thing to do. So thank you again, ReadPop and MCM, for having us out, and to all the new and old friends we got to see there. Thanks for spending time with us. It was a lot of fun. This week we've had a bunch of things going on. We had a really great creator meetup here at Bat City this week, where we got to talk about what goes into our portfolios, and I just want to give a huge shout out to some of our publishing friends for taking the time to kind of let us know some of the things that people are looking for. And I'm going to give a shout out to our buddy Dan Crary, and our buddy Danny Ward from Ghost Machine, who I have to give an extra special shout out to because it is her birthday today.
What?
So happy birthday, Danny. If you want to celebrate one of the most awesome people in comics, go out and buy some Ghost Machine comics this week and tag Ghost Machine and say happy birthday, Danny, in them, because she works really hard to give us some awesome comics coming to your comic book store shelves. And so shout out to her, and shout out to her for helping all of our creators with some really great knowledge and insight for their portfolios this week. We also had our Slam Academy meet this week with world building. Thank you to everybody who came out for that class and listened to Santiago and I go on and on building a giant world of information for hours in that class. It was a lot of fun. It was really cool to see some of the things that people wrote and came up with through that class. Another Slam Academy class is coming your way this Saturday. So it will be, maybe not, I might have lied to you. There might not be one this Saturday because this Saturday I will be at SRQCon at the Selby Library. And so come out there and see me. I will have creator P.T. Rawls with me at our table with his awesome art. So come out and check me and him out and see all the cool stuff. There's lots of fun programming going on at the library. It's a great way to support your local library as well as some awesome artists. So go down to Sarasota to the Selby Library this Saturday for SRQCon. It's going to be a lot of fun. And speaking of events and things coming up, and obviously my lack of knowledge of which ones they are, our June, we are in June, our June calendar will be dropping tomorrow, so onto our social media and our website. So if you're looking for what our June events are going to be, check back tomorrow for all of that information, because there's going to be some cool stuff going on in June. And lastly, before we start talking about comics, I just want to once again thank everybody that took the time to nominate Bat City for the Eisner Spirit of Comics Retailer Award. We got to release our video, which is part of the application process. Once you get nominated, you create a video and an information packet about all the wonderful things that you do in your store and send that off. So we will find out middle of this month, because it is June now, if we are finalists and if we'll be heading off to the Eisners for that or not. So thank you again, though, for all of the nominations. So many of you came in and said you nominated us for that, and we really, really appreciate it because, again, without you, Bat City wouldn't exist. And so we thank you for being a part of our community and a part of our Bat fam. And you're a part of our Bat fam because you love comics. So I'm going to talk about comics now, and I am going to talk about so many of them for you. So
it's also Julio's son's birthday, Jackson's birthday.
What? Happy birthday, Jackson! That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. I'm sure Jackson's asleep, but thanks.
He said he's watching.
Oh, yay. Thanks for watching, Jackson. Happy birthday. All right. Well, oh, yeah, it's summer. Kids don't have to go to school tomorrow. Woohoo. Happy summer. Oh, yeah. Congratulations, everybody in Manatee County and Sarasota County for making it to summer break. Woo. And congrats to all of our recent graduates of all the different grades, and enjoy your summer. We are going to be kicking it off today with Department of Truth issue 30 from Image Comics. Cannot believe we've made it to issue 30. And if you don't know Department of Truth, basically there is a branch of the government, a secret operative organization essentially, that keeps everything that is a conspiracy theory from becoming true, because basically if enough people believe in it, it will eventually become reality. And so there is a government organization actually run by Lee Harvey Oswald that is supposed to keep all of that from becoming reality. Well, we are in an arc right now where Lee is supposed to be retiring, and he's like supposed to pass it on to the new people who are going to take over. He doesn't really feel like that is a thing he can do. Meanwhile, another organization, a secret one with the Black Hats, seems to be gaining some traction, and he's worried that they are going to come in and take over and kind of mess up everything. And Lee believes the only thing that he could do is possibly just expose the Department of Truth himself. Like maybe if he gives enough information out to like the media and maybe even the administration, like this will change everything. And they're like, hey, you've seen what happened the last time we told a president what the Department of Truth was and what we do. Like maybe you shouldn't do it, especially with the administration at hand. And we see how that goes with Lee. And if you read that issue and you didn't scream at the last page, go back and read it again, because when I read that, I was like, holy crap, James is doing it. Didn't think James Tynion was going to go in that direction, and he definitely is. And so, like, second biggest oh my god moment in nerd culture this week, I guess, with Doctor Who obviously taking the first. If you are on social media today, that's been spoiled for you. But we're gonna keep it going with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Saturday Morning Adventures issue 23. 5. Is that what that says? Yeah, wow, we are getting some high numbers. This is from IDW. This is basically giving you some moments from the cartoons, essentially, and some modern storytelling. So we are continuing just fun adventures with the Ninja Turtles, and in this issue, Splinter has decided to go on like a vacation and go out fishing, and so the Turtles feel like they should get their vacation too, but Leo, of course, thinks that that's not what they're supposed to do, that they should be still vigilant and helping people, so he is the only one that goes out on patrol while all the rest stick behind to watch wrestling. And while he's out on patrol, he figures out, like, you know, there's a lot of small problems that need to be solved, a lot of cats and dogs getting stuck in trees. Meanwhile, Shredder, who's been stuck in between dimensions, has gotten to a point where he needs to get pulled out of Dimension X and back into our reality. And in order to do that, he is going to recruit an old friend of the Turtles from the cartoon and bring her in. And we are going to see how that works, because she is being told she must work for Shredder if she wants to keep all of the kids she's been training safe. And we're going to see exactly what side she decides to take as that story unfolds. Looks like it's going to be a 2-parter, though most of those issues you can actually just jump in and out of. We've got Void Rivals, issue 19 from Image, Skybound, and our Energon universe, which is the crossover of Transformers and G.I. Joe. This is Robert Kirkman kind of giving us a frame tale for how that is exactly going on. And in this series, we are basically seeing 2 warring worlds who have been told that they have to be at odds against each other because they're so different and they must stay that way forever, only to find out that they are actually pretty much just the same people group, and they are kept separate because of some other ancient secrets, and that ancient secret might rely upon Energon and the Transformers themselves. But we are following in this some story of one of our little pig warriors, and we are seeing him kind of get tossed into a battleground on a world that is run by Transformers, and kind of figuring out that there's more to what is going on the Cobra side and the G.I. Joe side in connection with this Transformer world. And we don't really see our main characters from our 2 warring planets in this issue, because we are kind of building up to the fact that there is going to be some kind of big war coming. And what side are we going to be on? We're gonna find out as these next couple issues unravel. Feral, issue 13 from Image Comics and the team behind Stray Dogs. If you have not read this yet, it is basically Walking Dead with cats. And so we have been following along as a group of cats makes their way through the world trying to figure out how to survive essentially a zombie apocalypse. And of course for cats it's going to be something more like rabies, and they have had all of the struggles, and recently they've met a wild cat who's like, hey, in the city there is a pet store, but there's no way in because of all of the wild, like, you know, infected that are in front of it. But if we could figure out a way to get to the roof, maybe we could get in through the skylight. And the tension has been really high in our group recently because of the last situation they were in. And so while they don't kind of trust each other and there's a lot of you know, infighting going on, they're like, okay, well, we need to get to this safe place because where else are we going to go? And there's food in there. And so we get to see them kind of try to take on a very dangerous escapade to get into this place. And if they can get into it, are they even going to be safe? And so we follow that process and that journey in here in this issue. And the tension is always so high in every single issue of this book. Very much like The Walking Dead, where you're like nothing... You're like slowly moving through the process, and yet everything becomes more and more intense as that happens. And honestly, because they're cats, I'm way more concerned. Space Ghost, issue 12 from Dynamite. We are really building to a new thing. We're going to see a new volume of Space Ghost launching very soon. And so we're really hyping up like what is happening with the Space Ghost universe right now. But most recently, Space Ghost kind of told his 2 young kid sidekicks that they needed to, like, you know, go off on their own, or they needed to stick closer to him, you know. They kind of just really angry with them, and really it's because he found out that they were applying for a science academy and he was worried that they were leaving. He was kind of lashing out Well, in addition to that, all of his bad guys have kind of come together to fight against them. And Space Ghost has found himself in a place where, as much as he always tries to think that he can stand on his own, he realizes just exactly how much, like, he needs his team and he needs the kids that are helping him. And so the three of them have to learn to work together again to fight these bad guys, and learn that infighting doesn't really help the team. But maybe it could hurt the villains. Meanwhile, the whole thing is that Blip, their monkey who has the secrets to the universe, has been stolen, and they need to save him. And whether or not we're going to be able to save him is something we still don't know. We've got Redcoat issue 12 from Image Comics and the Ghost Machine imprint. This is such a good book. I love it so much every time. And we have just kind of hit a really big point in this story, because our main character, Simon Pure, who will self-proclaim tell you he's anything but, has just found out that his immortality is once again in question, because the fact that he got his immortality from the Founding Fathers and the magic that they did means that if America somehow crumbles, so will his immortality, and he will die. And he was told this by the Northerner, who is from an alternate timeline, who has appeared to him during the Civil War. And we learned that something has changed drastically in our history, and another person from the future has come and is basically disrupting it. And the problem is that he might lead to the South winning the war, and if that happens, America as we know it will crumble, and Simon will not survive. And so Simon, who never wants to help people but always ends up doing so, ends up helping the Northerner and this young girl on their quest to try to save America. There's some really beautiful moments in here that Jeff Johns wrote into this story that really get you. And the fact that every time Simon's like, I am not a good person, and then he always makes the best choices, and you're like, suck it up, Simon Pure, you really are a good person. And I can't wait to see how his story continues to grow, as he has such a great arc going on. We've got Tales of the Bizarre, issue 11 from Drin Productions. This is an anthology of just different kinds of stories. For a while we were running with one woman who was kind of like our crypt keeper, leading the charge. But now we have moved on to a different situation, and we are in this one kind of dealing with 3 different spy stories. And so the first one is all about a woman who kind of gets herself into a mess in a seduction crossfire in a hotel, and is maybe trying to find some secrets of her own. In the second story, we actually see a guy who really wants to have memories given into him, and there's a way that you can implant memories into your brain, and it's kind of like doing drugs and getting a high off of it. But he specifically wants the memories of his partner, who has recently passed away, and despite all the warnings not to do it, he does in fact go for it, and things ensue. And then the last story is called The Hit, and it's all about how it's very dangerous in this town, and how you never know who is the predator and who is the prey, and how you need to just kind of watch out for that. Just a fun little anthology of some, sci-fi and spy stories mixed together for this month. And speaking of fun anthologies, we have Epitaphs of the Abyss, issue 11, from Oni Press and the return of EC Comics. This has 3 stories in it as well. The first one is from Greg Pak, and it is called Pruning Lessons, and it's all about a woman who owns a flower shop. And whenever she does her deliveries, everybody is really rude to her, just kind of completely, rude customers that treat her like crap and look down on her. And she has her own way of growing some comeuppance, if you would. And then the second story is by Jay Stevens, who you know for Dwellings, and it is all about a man who is known for his drunken ways in a local bar, and he shows up one day very early in the morning after being drunk the night before and closing out the bar to find out that a note has been left for him from a secret admirer weeks ago, and he has to figure out where it is by following the information that comes inside of the note. The last story is by Dr. Stephanie Phillips, and it is all about a woman in the 1600s who gets named the mayor of a town, and all of the men are very offended by how good she is at all the things she does. And so it opens up with her being burned at the stake, and how just being good at anything, as a woman, you have to kind of like tone it down. You can't be too good, or eventually they'll come for you. Really great issue, honestly. One of the best of the Epitaph collections in recent times. It's had some really, really all-star stories in that one. We've got the Power Fantasy, issue 9 from Image Comics. If you are a fan of something like Wicked and Divine, this is Kieran Gillen kind of giving us another really like heady story where we're reimagining something that we know so well. And in this one, it is actually superheroes. And it's kind of taking a little bit of that like Watchmen conversation of who watches the superheroes and who makes sure that they don't do the wrong thing. And really pushes it even further, because in this we have a guy who's very much like a Charles Xavier and can read and control people's minds from any distance. And he believes because he can do that and he can see what people are thinking, he should have the ultimate power to control the ethics of superheroes. And that has led to some real problematic moments throughout history. And in the last couple issues, we've been really recapping those, because the teams are having to come together, or the individual superheroes are coming together again, and these factions of heroes are starting to connect. And it's like, if that's going to happen, we need to be mindful of the fact that every single one of these people is easily triggered by another one. And so we've kind of just been reliving some of those backstories of what's happened with them. And as we do it, we're starting to see more and more that sometimes the people who think that they have the best ethics might in fact have the worst. Really solid story. If you haven't actually started reading it yet, if you do get a trade, take your time with it. Don't like try to power through it. I think it's one of those where you really do need to read one issue at a time, and kind of let it settle in and have the conversations before you move on. Null Hunter, issue 8 from Image Comics. This is basically a like cyberpunk Hercules retelling. And in this issue, in the last issue, Hercules himself, like our Hercules, was kidnapped by some people who just basically are going to tear him apart. And his young little sidekick has come to look for help. And when he goes into the bars looking for help, they just kind of laugh at him because he doesn't have any money. And the only people who are willing to help him are this group of women who are kind of like the Muses, and kind of like Artemis's like gang of women all at the same time. And so they come together to try to help him out. And he leads them into a really dangerous spot. Really dangerous spot that kind of just might lead to some more destruction than he intended for it to happen. But it is always a tragedy when the Greeks are involved, no matter what time period you actually put them in. But if you are a fan of the like 7 labors of Hercules, this is a really cool retelling of that. Defenders of the Earth, issue 7 from Mad Cave. If you are looking forward to that Phantom book that's coming out soon, you should probably pop back and grab the Defenders of the Earth series that's been going on for the last 7 months, because it is going to kind of give you some insight to what's been going on in the Phantom's life. This follows the Defenders of the Earth, which includes Mandrake the Great and the Phantom and Flash Gordon and a couple other people. And in the last issue, Flash Gordon, who is always way too full of himself, believed that he could negotiate peace against the ice people that have been attacking the 7 kingdoms, and he thought he was doing a good job, only to have himself get poisoned. And we're trying to save Flash's life in this issue, while also trying to figure out what's happening and how we're going to stop this war that's coming. And we realize, again, what I love about this book is that they realize that the next generation kind of has a better understanding of how to be a team and what they should be doing and how to make these negotiations. And so we get to see the kids of all these heroes kind of coming into their own as the power leaders. But as they attempt to stop these ice people with fire, they learn that they might not have all of the tools they need to actually make this work. And a Trojan horse is in their midst, and they must figure out how to battle that on top of everything else. Always a fun adventure with the Defenders of the Earth. G.I. Joe, issue 7 from Image, Skybound, and Your Inner John universe. This issue is kind of just, giving us a little bit more to the G.I. Joe story. We're kind of getting to see, oh my gosh, what is his name? Beachcomber is the transformer, but this guy has a name kind of similar. Anyway, we're seeing one of the agents go through and kind of get some information. He's following along and trying to do his own investigation. And we learn that, like, not everybody in the Joes believe that Duke does things the right way. A lot of them want to get a little more action-packed and get their hands a little dirtier. Duke, who's like the leader of the G.I. Joes, he's always such like the Boy Scout and follows all the rules, and they're like, we can't fight this, and I don't want to just be fighting robots, and also like maybe allying them with them, like we need to take Cobra out, we need to stop all these bad guys from what they're doing. And we learn that the Joes also might not be the only people that you can team up with if you're interested in being a part of taking those people down. And so who are these mysterious other people, and who is it that we are going to align ourselves with? We're going to find out in the next issue, probably. Hornsby and Halo, issue 7 from Image Comics and the Ghost Machine imprint. This is one of those books that everybody can read, and honestly probably should, because it's so much fun, and it's one of those great nature versus nurture conversations, because this is all about two kids, one who is essentially an angel and the other who is essentially a demon, but they are also meant to rule these different afterlife kind of situations, and in the process, they might bring about the end of the world or the saving of the world. And because of that, they were sent to live on Earth, and they were raised in opposite style families. So our demon was raised with like the best people on the planet, and the angel was raised with terrible people. And it just happens that they live in the same town. And now that they are getting to a certain age, their powers have started to manifest, and they are being chased by people who are from their respective realms, who want to start this war of good versus evil and see what's happening. And they have a guardian who has been watching over them, who has finally revealed this information to them, and they are not happy to find it out. They don't want anything to do with him. They don't want this life. That's not what they wanted the world to be for them, and they're very not happy about it. And this is kind of the fallout in this issue of finding out all those things and trying to get their lives back on track. But it is not working the way they want to, and we're going to see exactly what happens when the Guardian isn't around to usher them through their lives anymore. It's so good. You guys need to be reading it. I don't know. Everybody should read it. Again, it's great for all ages, and it's one of those, I'm going to hold this up again while I say this, because there are not a lot of books that the subject matter and the writing style are actually legitimately good for like pretty much like anybody from age like 11 to like age 70, and that the art is also good for all of those ages. Like, this doesn't have the kid style drawing, and it doesn't like change the story to kind of like fit for a younger age group, but it also doesn't have anything that's inappropriate. And so it's really cool that this book really can be read and enjoyed by everybody. And we have subscribers for it who are as young as like 6th grade all the way up to in their 60s. And so it's really cool that that wide of a range of people can enjoy that book, and that Ghost Machine is putting out so many books like that. Next up, we have The Terminator, issue 7 from Dynamite, and you have been waiting for this issue for so long because this was supposed to come out a while ago, and it got delayed with all of the distribution situations, and I'm so happy that it's finally here. But this has been an anthology essentially talking about, I mean, honestly, the existential question of whether the monsters are the robots or the people that are on Earth. And this one really takes that into consideration, the monster versus man situation, as it brings a terminating robot to 1940s Germany. And it's like on its quest to find somebody that it needs to terminate. And the whole time we're like hearing all of the terrible things that are happening in this concentration camp. And it's like, who's really the bad guy here? Like this robot that starts taking out all of the people in charge of the concentration camp, or the people running the concentration camp. And so it's such an interesting issue and such a great conversation of what, you know, what we as humans have always done to ourselves and to each other, and how we were always like the war and these robots are going to be the end of humanity, but we were like destroying humanity all along anyway. Really great issue. A fantastic way to tell a Terminator story. And Declan Shalvey has just been really crushing it with this anthology series in general. Great for Terminator fans and for people who've never checked out the series, honestly. Minor Arcana issue 7 from Boom Studios. This is a great story about a woman who has to like figure out the answer to the question, like, can you ever return home? She has such a terrible relationship with her mom, who is her only remaining family member, and her mom gets cancer, and so she feels like it's her job to go back and take care of her because her mom's not doing what she needs to do to take care of herself. Meanwhile, mom is the town psychic, and she is probably faking it. Mom's not really known for being a legitimate, actual psychic person. However, now that our main girl has come home, she has been stepping in, trying to run the psychic shop for her mom, even though she has no desire to do that, only to find out that she, in fact, might actually be psychic. And it's more than just that she can read the tarot cards that she's placing on the table in front of her, but actually having psychic visions and starting to see people's futures and past as she just even interacts with them. And yet she really can't even understand her own present or her own past. And so it's really interesting to see like the duality of her not understanding how to handle her own life and yet being able to see everybody else's, and having to address those relationships she's had throughout her past as they are being brought right in front of her all over again. Mysterious things to come, but definitely a family story at the heart of it. Hyde Street issue 6 from Image Comics and the Ghost Machine universe. This is like the most like off the wall, like, but crazy good concept, and a Ghost Machine, and specifically Jeff John and Ivan Reis are nailing it with this book, every single issue. Basically, there is a street that's called Hyde Street, and when you are a bad person, you will eventually find yourself on it, and if you get trapped on Hyde Street, you will have to recover the souls of a certain amount of people based off of, you know, your requiredness of your evilness. And until you collect the souls of all those people who are evil, you cannot return to the real world and your life, nor can you move on to death. And we are following a couple different people. One is like Mr. X-Ray, who wears X-ray glasses, who really, really, really just wants to get back to the world he came from, so that he could get back to his daughter. He feels like he's learned his lesson, and he is so close to getting back. But the problem is that there is a young scout who is absolutely evil, who lives on Hyde Street, and he has no desire to go back to the real world. He just loves collecting and tormenting souls, and so he is stealing everybody else's finds before they can actually collect them, and getting the numbers for himself, which is keeping them trapped here even longer. In this issue, Mr. X-Ray actually finds a bus of people who get stuck on Hyde Street after they cause their bus driver to hit something and refuse to stop and look into it. And we see a group of people who shouldn't necessarily be considered bad people, but as they are put with the choice of doing the right thing versus doing the wrong thing, we see that sometimes evil hides very far beneath the surface of people you wouldn't expect it from. Such a good issue. It always is. That series is just absolutely knocking it out, and you got to check it out. We've got the wrap-up of Spectrum with issue 6 from Mad Cave. This book is so much. It is absolutely like just over the top, like crazy, heady storytelling. But it is so good all at the same time. This is the story of a woman or a young girl, I should say, named Melody, who finds herself in a war of good and evil that is all done through music. And there's essentially a legion of musical people who are working to save the day from this evil entity. And Melody has found herself stuck in the battle along with another young girl who wanted absolutely nothing to do with music and yet still ended up a record store owner because she couldn't help the connection that she had with her dad that she feels abandoned her as a child, which we get to see all of that trauma laid bare and that story really come full circle as this journey goes on. And the alternative music history, like there's like fake music history in here, and it's so good the way it's done. It's amazing to kind of see like what pieces of it are taken from like real life stories, and just such a cool adventure and a crazy awesome way to do a story. If you didn't read this, you should, and if you're on next year's Eisner judging committee, you should be putting this on your radar now for it. And Mad Cave, you should definitely submit this for the Eisners next year because this was such a well done story. The art, the layouts, the storytelling, the journey and the destination, like all around. I can't wait for trade paperbacks to come out of that book because it's so good. Dark Empty Void, issue 5 from Mad Cave. This is the wrap up of this series as well. This is the story of a woman who is a psychologist who even though she's a therapist, she has trouble maintaining her own relationship, and her husband are in the process of getting a divorce. He is a scientist who is working on the discovery of a black hole, and one day a woman wanders out of this black hole, and they can't figure out how to speak with her, and so he realizes the best thing to do is call in his soon-to-be ex-wife to handle that side of it and to kind of talk this woman through the situation. They end up going into the black hole and discovering so much about the world around them and the world of the past, present, and future. And in this issue, we kind of get to see what that could mean for each of them and how this story could play out, and just kind of see their connections and the way that we're kind of all tethered to each other, and the way that we're also able to just float along if we make the wrong choices. Really good, and of course beautiful artwork from Press Shann, so always worth checking out. I'm going to take another drink of this fantastic Bordeaux to see if this a new flavors have released. Oh, that's way spicier now.
Good.
That's a really good wine. I like that it said the spice would be on the aftertaste, but after you let it open up, it's actually on the foretaste. It kind of like flip-flopped. Like it's at the front of the taste, and then like the fruit flavor was kind of on the back, which I like. I think that works really well for a wine, for the fruit to kind of smooth out the spice on your drink. I think that's a really great way for it to work, to mold into your mouth. Yeah.
Is that planned?
I don't know. I don't know how to make wine.
Right.
You know, we should get a winemaker to come do an episode of the show, like a separate episode one day where we just ask some questions about how wine is made. Like, we should go on location or something to a winery and ask questions.
Well, you've said it live, so
it has to happen now. Oh no, we have to go to a winery and ask questions. Or maybe we can get our friends from Bad Kids Press to zoom in and do a show with us and explain how wine is made, since they have their winemaking.
That would be
super cool.
super cool.
I would love that. We'll have to reach out to them and see if they're available. All right, we've got Hal, issue 5 from Ahoy Comics, and this is the wrap-up of this as well. Such a cool story. So wild. This is about a group of people in like Greenwich Village in, I believe it's the 50s, maybe the 60s. And all of the, relationship drama and everything they go through, and the pretentiousness of the men towards the women, and all of that kind of curbed and yet maximalized? No. What is the word I'm looking for? Like made bigger, enlarged, by the fact that there's now an alien invasion, and it is done by a woman who claims to be a therapist and only takes in these like really pretentious men and starts making them into her alien subjects, and then it spreads through the village and through all of the people, and it is such a cool, awesome sci-fi story. And we have the one woman who's really just like, I don't know if like how to solve this. Like, I don't know if the right thing to do is to kill all the aliens, if it's to conform to the alien life, if it's to just get rid of this woman who is just making my life terrible. But what I do love is that we learn that the number one way to kill these aliens is to smoke cigarettes in their faces. And so it becomes like the superpower is, it's such a random, off the wall, like fantastic sci-fi book. If you're just looking for a really good sci-fi story, this one is definitely it. It's so much fun. The art's really cool. I can't, again, wait for this to also be collected into a trade paperback, which would probably be soon since it is now complete. I was like, who was the artist on this? Morissette is the artist. Really well done. And great story from Alyssa Whitney. I am now sold. If Alyssa Whitney is doing any books, I want to find them and read them because that one was so good, and I can't wait to see more from them. Kill Train issue 5 from Mad Cave, also wrapping up this week. This is all about a world where the population of New York City has gotten too big, and they need to find a way to humanely end it. I'm putting that in quotes. That's what they call it. And then I guess it initially started out that way, but basically at random they choose trains on the subway and they become kill trains, and just everybody on that train gets murdered. And it started off like really like peacefully, and then it became, we put psychopathic serial killers, like slasher movie people, on the train. You're not supposed to have more than one kill train a month, but it just so happens that one day this woman who doesn't have the money for a cab and doesn't have the time to walk gets on the train the day after a kill train, only to find out that they've decided to do 2, and now she's stuck on a kill train, and she has to fight her way through it if she's ever going to make it back to her daughter. And at the same time, she is facing all of her own trauma and everything she's gone through as an adult to try to figure out, I'm not going to show you anything else because it's all spoilers for the end, to figure out herself and like overcome her own struggles that she's been dealing with, because she's been really down on her luck and really in her own head about everything. And so it's great to see her kind of deal with both of those things at the same time as she fights to survive. And you can read it to find out if she does. Green Hornet Miss Fury issue 5 from Dynamite. This is a really cool team up of some, I mean, are they public domain characters at this point? Or just really close to it, if not. But this is, we learn in this series that Miss Fury and Green Hornet had the same trainer when they were coming up as superheroes. And now that trainer is missing, and they have gone on the hunt to try to find them, only to find out that they were trained by somebody who is very much in the gray and might not have the best intentions at all in mind, and is actually trying to pin all of this terrible stuff that's happening in the city on the Green Hornet. And Green Hornet must figure out how to reconcile with the fact that he is trying to have everything. He's trying to still run his newspaper as Brit. He's trying to have a normal life, and he's trying to still be the Green Hornet. And he kind of needs to decide like who he wants to be and what the best way that he can help his city is. And in this issue, he kind of really has to deal with that with the help of Miss Fury and Kato to make things a little bit easier. And so if you haven't read it yet, it's done by Alex Segura, who's also doing Dick Tracy, and Henry Barajas. And so it's a really cool team up to see the two of them take on that story. Darkwing Duck issue 4 from Dynamite. Much like Saturday Morning Adventures of the TMNT, this is bringing you essentially new episodes of the Darkwing Duck TV show in comic book form. We just relaunched, and so this is a whole new series for Darkwing Duck, and it kind of started all over at the beginning. The early days of Darkwing, him just adopting Gosling, Launchpad trying to prove that he's a good sidekick. And in this issue, Darkwing, Drake Mallard wants to go to a fingerprinting lecture that's like a 4-hour lecture on all of the ways that fingerprint science works. And Gosling and Launchpad want to go to a new arcade. And unfortunately for all of them, they do end up at the arcade, and it is run by none other than Quackerjack, who is essentially, if you don't know, Darkwing Duck's Joker. And so it is a thing where they are now forced to figure out how they can get through this. Meanwhile, they get shrunk down. Launchpad and Darkwing get shrunk down and stuck inside of all of the games. And Gosling has no idea because she's trying to figure out how to beat the video game that she is playing. And they are in desperate need of her attention. And if they can get it, maybe, just maybe, they can beat Quackerjack and see what happens. That is actually the most, not this particularly, but just for Darkwing Duck fans, the most expensive Darkwing Duck issue from the original run you can find is a Killing Joke homage with a Quackerjack's face on it. It's super cool looking, hard to find, and therefore extremely expensive. Barstow issue 4. This is the wrap-up of this series from Dark Horse Comics. This is a strange and unusual adventure. This is the wrap-up, right? I just said that, and now I'm like, was it the end? It might not have been the end. Yes, it is. Okay. This is basically about a town where they are trafficking people in order to traffic demons into the world. And so basically there's a woman who is taking people and getting them possessed by demons and then trafficking them out into the world. And we've got a couple of different people who have come to investigate it. And our first FBI agent has gone missing. And so they've sent another one. And she is trying so hard to figure out how to stop this. And she finds herself up against a town of people who don't really want to help her. As well as an agent who isn't the past agent who isn't working on her side. And in this issue, she is put up for possible sacrifice herself by the biggest demon of all. And so she has to kind of figure out if she's going to be able to take over all of this stuff and save the day, or if Barstow is just the place where everybody goes to die. And you're going to figure that out as you read that story. Silverhawks issue 4, also from Dynamite Comics. This is a reboot of the Silverhawks franchise from the cartoon. Basically, the team from the cartoon has reached old age and are no longer able to serve as the Silverhawks, but the world is safe because of them, so they haven't needed them. But now their greatest foe, Monstar, has escaped from prison and is on his way back, and so they must rebuild the Silverhawks, and they are trying in this series to recruit new ones, but they hadn't done it well enough, quick enough, and in the last issue, the old Silverhawks had to step in, and a lot of death and destruction for them occurred, and so now the new Silverhawks are kind of having to speed up their training very quickly, and their search for them is also something that is moving fast. And we are going to see if this team can come together and who all these new bad guys are, and that are also coming out of the woodwork to attack everybody. So we're going to see where this goes for the Silverhawks, but it's not looking great for them, and I feel really bad. Lilith, issue 4 from Vault Comics. I'm going to show you what I can of this book that I absolutely love. If you are not reading Lilith, this is one of the best. I love it. It's so good. It's so adorable. And so, awesome and dark and wonderful all at the same time. This is basically the story of a woman named Lilith who is a demon. She's a succubus, and much like Lilith of the famed story. And she has been kicked out of Babylon, which is her home, for hundreds of years, and she's been trying for a long time to find her way back in. And she's recently found out that there is a book that can help her do that, and that book just happens to be in an occult store owned by the most adorable human on the planet, who just loves books and kind of loves magic and occult stuff because her grandma did. And so her and her brother now own the store and run the store that her grandma had. And she has made friends with Lilith and is trying to help Lilith learn how to read this book that she needs to read in order to do it, to get back to her home. She has no idea who Lilith is, no idea that Lilith is trying to get back to a home. She just thinks she's made a friend who's interested in the same stuff she has. And this friendship is blossoming into what might be the super cutest relationship ever at some point. And I love to see Lilith get embarrassed in front of her, even though she's this succubus demon who shouldn't be embarrassed by a cute girl acting awkward around her. It's so adorable. I love their friendship. I love the possibility that there could be more. I love Lilith and all of her awesomeness, and I love Corinne Howell's awesome story and amazing art. And shout out to Corinne, because this book is so good and I cannot wait. I just want it to keep going forever. It's awesome. And we did. Oh yeah, and we met Corinne when we were in London, and she is absolutely fantastically cool, and apparently lives in Austin, right down where we used to have our store. And so I think it's awesome that she's there. So Bat Fam in Austin, please, if you see Corinne doing signings, I know that she's got some possibly coming up. Highly recommend you go get her to sign copies of Lilith for you, and get her to draw stuff, because her art is so good. Bug Wars issue 4 from Image Comics. This is such a wild story. It's like Game of Thrones and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids mixed together. Basically, there is a world of bugs that lives in the grass behind a house that used to belong to a guy who studied bugs for a living. And now his son has found himself wearing this magical amulet and shrunken down into the world of bugs, only to find out that the bugs have a vendetta against his brother, who has started mowing the lawn and is always trying to kill bugs, after they just moved back into this home. And the brother has a lot of trauma against bugs. And so they are going to go to war with the intent to kill his brother, and he wants to stop the bugs from doing that. But now he is tiny and small, just like them, and can't actually really do anything to save them. And so he has teamed up with a spider, and the spiders are the magical priestesses and witches of this world. And she knows that she's taking him back to the spiders, where they intend to kill him. But she also knows that they're the only ones that know the secrets of the amulet, and so she is both trying to help him and also trying to win her way back into the spider world. And we are going to see what happens as he starts to make the choice to kind of get a little bit braver and braver. And she's got to make the choice of what side she's on as that story gets closer to war. I think it's only 5 issues, or no, it's 9 issues. It doesn't say anymore. Oh, it used to say. I wonder if it's going to be expanded then. You've Never Heard of Me, issue 4 from Dark Horse. This is from one of my favorite creator teams, so I'm really excited to have this amazingly wonderful story. But this is all about a young boy who inherits a power that runs in his family, where he can touch somebody and see either their best or worst moment in their life. And it's kind of a family thing, that family blessing, but he sees it as a curse, that they have to help people get to those moments or get away from those moments when they are in fact their bad moments, especially if it's like death or abuse or something really, really terrible. It's like, if you have the power to stop it, how do you do that? And he never wanted the power. He always thought it was stupid, and he wanted to hide and stay away from people. And now he has this power, and he has to actually deal with it. And he's found himself a group of friends through that, and he's become further bonded with his sister. But it's kind of pushed him further away from his dad, who really wanted this power, who doesn't know he has it because he still has not told his dad. It is so good. It's so beautiful. He's starting to really come into this power, and yet there's some really big issues with his own sister that he's trying to stop now, and it's really causing him to question whether the power is in fact a curse or a blessing. There's only 1 issue of that left, and I'm already I don't know how you're gonna wrap it all up in 1 issue, and I know that I'm gonna be sad when it does. Jim Henson Presents issue 4 from Boom Studios. This is an anthology of stories from all the different Jim Henson worlds. So each issue you get something from each of them. In this issue we have a Dark Crystal story that has been going on for a while now, and so the first one is that story, which is the story of the heretic and the wanderer. And it's, I ask you every time, it's the Skeksis and the Mystics. And so this is one of them, their stories of how they connect and how one of them the Skeksis has been injured and it is impacting the Mystic, and we're seeing the Mystic get the help that he needs, and yet he's going to have to stretch that out even further because the Skeksis is hurt so far that if the Skeksis passes, he knows he will too. And we kind of just see the way that the world connects for the Mystics and the Skeksis and all of the Gelflings and everybody at the same time. The second story is from Farscape, and it's all about a time when they're their language modulars, translators stop working, and so they have to our human, the only human on the ship, has to use earth slang to try to break up their moderators or their translators, so that he can get them new ones, but they can't get the new one in until the old one breaks on each person. And so he just uses a bunch of idioms that make sense to nobody else so that the things go haywire and they're able to replace them. The third story is from Labyrinth, and it's all about a bunch of the goblins having to watch the baby and thinking what is so great about babies, and kind of having their own beautiful experiences of ridiculous fun and emotional journey with the baby, and then not wanting the Goblin King to take it back. And then the last story is absolutely adorable Fraggle story about a little doozer named Demo, who is known for his inability to make things and only to destroy them, and how sad he feels because he feels like he is not a good builder and that's the only thing that they should be, and he thinks that he can't be a part of the team and that nobody will accept him, but he learns that even he has a value, and his value is great amongst them, and it's so cute, and I just want to hug him. And the kindness always message of the Henson universe really comes through in that story, and it's absolutely wonderful. Into the Unbeing Part 2, Issue 4 from Dark Horse, and this is the wrap-up, I believe, of the whole series. Kind of seems like we come to a point. If you don't know this series, it is basically the world has kind of deteriorated. We're kind of post-apocalyptic, and there's a science organization that is trying to find any source of life. They find it inside of what they believe to be just a cavern. They go into this cavern. It is, in fact, not a cave and more of a living being, and the 4 scientists get stuck in there, and that is volume 1. In volume 2, they are still in there and they are trying to find their way out, and we see the way that not only do they go crazy in here, but also the way that this sentient life form that is this cavern kind of absorbs them and molds them and changes them into different things, and they are all on the quest to find their way out. And we see what that could look like if it happens, and what could happen if it doesn't make it out. So, and it's always wild. It's Hayden Sherman. If you're reading Absolute Wonder Woman and you're loving it for the art, that's Hayden Sherman also on that series, and you get to see some of his craziest paneling in that series because he is trying to make everything like a human body, and it's super cool. We have Bitter Root issue 3 out from Image Comics this week. This is the return of Bitter Root. This is a multi-Eisner winning series, and you should probably go back and read it if you haven't. You can actually jump into this series though without having read it. It does kind of roll out some of the exposition from the previous series over the course of these first 3 issues. But basically, if you don't know, in the Bitter Root world, there is this monstrous race of beings, essentially, that if you are a prejudiced person whose heart gets filled with hate, you kind of become a monster, and they have created this way to salvage that. They've created a serum, this family of people, and they go around the country, and right now we're in, I believe, the 60s, and they kind of go to these places that get heavily populated with these monsters and try to save the people who should be, you know, humans and should be accepting of other people, and yet they still have to also deal with actual prejudices coming towards them directly, because they are people of color. And so when they show up in these places, the townsmen and the law enforcement and things like that don't believe them and don't trust them, and the FBI themselves has like mixed feelings on it. And so it's really interesting to see how they work and how they make things happen. But in this series, they've gone to Alabama because an entire bus of freedom fighters has gone missing, and they are trying to figure out what is happening and how these monsters have returned when they thought that they eradicated the monsterism and this curse from the world entirely. Again, multi-Eisner nominated and winning series, so you should definitely check it out. Who Are the Power Pals? Issue 3 from Dark Horse. This is such a great, absurd book. This is all about two guys who, when they were children, they were on a show where they were supposed to be superheroes, but the show never actually took off, and so they became like has-been child actors, and now they just work as security guards on the movie lot. And they get fired from that because, well, they're not very good at anything. And one of them decides he wants to kind of just become the crime fighter he was meant to be on the TV show in real life. And the other one realizes after a video of them doing that goes viral that this is the way he gets back into the celebrity spotlight. And recently they have stolen costumes from the set and have become... one of them believes actual superheroes, and the other one, of course, believes he's on the quest to get that celebrity status back. The bad guy that they should be chasing after has figured out who they are for various reasons that you'll see in this issue, and is coming for them now. And yet the Power Pals and their palness has actually dissipated in this issue, and we have to see if they can make the right choices and what exactly they're going to have to do to stand up against these bad guys for real. The Last Boy, issue 3 from Boom Studios. If you are a fan of the recent series Alice in Neverland, this is a very similar concept, but we're doing that with Peter Pan now. And so we are following two sides of the story. One is Pan is in Neverland, and he finds out that everybody has made an agreement with Captain Hook. And Captain Hook has allegedly become a decent human who is actually not pirating anymore and is working with people. And Peter Pan doesn't believe that, and so he goes after Hook anyway. And some extremely crazy bad things happen. And now there's this dark entity who's come to Neverland and is trying to destroy it. Meanwhile, in the real world, Wendy is a grown-up, and she's trying to write a book based off of all of her experiences, and she wants to do that before she gets married, but her mother feels that it's improper that Wendy is not married yet and is trying to force the wedding to happen even faster, and Wendy is very upset about the situation. It is such a cool thing. I can't wait to see how the stories cross over, much like they did in Alice in Neverland. I know that there's Alice Ever After, or Alice Never After and Alice Ever After. There was 2 volumes of it. I can't wait to see how this kind of does that same thing and brings the 2 worlds together, because there's going to be a moment where Wendy has to go to Neverland in some way, and I cannot wait to see what that is. Bronze Faces, issue 3 from Boom Studios. This is a really cool series. It takes the heist concept and kind of gives it a new little tale to it, because this is about a group of people who were all raised together by the same man who happened to be a very big artist in their community, and who created a lot of the masks that were a part of their culture. When that man dies, all of those masks are given to museums across the world and put on display. And they realize that their whole culture has been sold off. And so they gather these people who can go on heists with them, and they start robbing these places, these museums and other places, of all of the artifacts again, and starting to try to bring them home. Meanwhile, they're also using it as a way to kind of build recognition for themselves and for their quest. And they have gotten really sloppy in their heist recently and in their relationships, and we're gonna see if they survive the most recent quests that they went on. Prodigal Son, issue 3 from AMP Comics. This is the story of a young boy who is wanting to get revenge when his father is murdered by some people in the Old West, and he goes out to try to find that revenge. He meets up with a man who seems like he's also kind of a lawless vigilante who's also on the quest for revenge, and in the process of them trying to track down the people that this boy needs to take down, they come across a woman who is actively being attacked by these same evil people, and she now also wants revenge as she sees her family attacked in front of her eyes. And so this ragtag team of people has come together, and for the first time in this issue, we see the young boy actually have to make a tough call on whether or not to attack somebody and how that impacts him and whether or not he's actually able to do it. And we start to have some really important conversations as to whether or not each of these people has a real reason for being on this quest, and whether or not their revenge is the right path for them to take. And as they kind of figure that out, their group kind of figures out the way that maybe it needs to go. And we're going to see where that direction is. And there's a lot of big changes as we get towards the end of this issue. Zootopia, issue 3 from Dynamite Comics. This is much like all of the other ones that are coming out from the Disney line at Dynamite. This is a new story in the world of Zootopia. Nick and Judy are on a quest to figure out who has been stealing all of these jewels and different things. They recently discovered that there is a gang of operations of people who are trafficking jewels across like the different places, and they can't figure out who's responsible for it. So we are on the investigation, and in this issue they go to try to figure out this next spot that they think there might be a drop in. And as they go and learn about this place, we get a lot of comedy ensuing as they have to go to this like country club, but they do find out the next piece of their puzzle, and we're gonna see if they're able to actually put it together or if they just keep messing it up as always. It's just a fun little Zootopia story. Stay Awake, issue 3 from Afterlight Comics. This is all about a woman who is investigating a psychologist because a bunch of his patients have mysteriously been killed, and they're all just like, it seems like everybody that goes to the psychologist ends up dead, and he's supposed to be helping them with sleep disorders, and it's like, why do all the people who come to you for sleep disorders end up killing people or themselves and then ending up dead? And each issue so far has recounted a specific like case and the conversation he's had with those people, and what that those sessions look like, and all of who it is that may be haunting their dreams. And in this issue, we kind of see him for the first time having his own slip-ups and his own fears of something that he hears about from one of his patients, and the consequences of just what you say and do and how far that can go. This book has been really creepy, and also it's printed on really nice newsprint that smells really great. So check it out. Pin Apocalypse, issue 3 from Massive. This book is so much fun. It is so absurdly great. It is all about a girl in the 1950s who is really excited to celebrate her birthday by getting all dolled up and getting the nice new dress from the place. And it's just like, all she knows is that she's pretty, and she is like trying to get like the perfect relationship and have everybody celebrate her. And while she's in the shop trying on the dress for her birthday, essentially a zombie apocalypse breaks out, and she has no idea what's going on or how to survive. But lucky for her, the local like greaser chick comes to save the day, and now they are teamed up and they are trying to make their way through the town and figure out what's going on. And they do actually learn a little bit of information in this issue, but it's not necessarily helpful to their situation. In fact, it's rather hilarious and extremely unhelpful. But I love to see the way their relationship develops. I love to see how these two girls are going to fight their way through the zombie apocalypse. And it's just all kinds of fun, random, like, movies, but like mixed together to make this like crazy, hilarious parody essentially of a zombie story in the 50s. The Mummy, issue 3 from Image, Skybound, and the Universal Monsters imprint. These are like officially licensed Universal Monster stories, which is really cool. In this story, we are following a young girl who's probably like just out of college in her early 20s, living in Egypt. Her dad is an excavator, and she just happens to be around when Imhotep is, brought back to life. And she is currently experiencing a lot of hallucinations of this past life that she's had. Like now that she's in her 20s, it was like when she was a teenager when Imhotep was brought back, I guess. And now she's been having all these hallucinations since her teenage years of a woman who lived a long time ago, who kind of works as a voice in her head. And we know that it's an ox and a moon, and Imhotep is trying to bring her back, and she is kind of forced between that as Anaxamun has to decide how to control her body, and she has to decide if she's going to let that happen. And Ardith Bey has been trying to pull that Anaxamun out of her and make it kind of the forefront of it, and she is currently working to fight to save herself from this situation. It's just a really fun story inside of the Mummy universe, and if you are a fan of the Universal Monsters version of it, you should definitely grab this and check it out. Slaughter Otter, issue 3 from Keen Spot. Again, absolutely absurd. This is the story of an otter that is very much kind of like your Deadpool. And he has been fighting against an organization called Leech, which is kind of like the evil entity, but he might also not be really like a good guy, because again, he's kind of like early day Deadpool. And the queen of that comes to him in this issue, like the ruler of this Leech world, and she's like, you can't stand against me. And he actually figures out how to do it, only to find out that the queen is being double-crossed by his very own father, who is also double-crossing him and trying to take out all of his otter sons and then some. And so Slaughter Otter must actually face against the one greatest evil that he has never been able to beat, which is his own dad. And so we're going to see that continue as these two fight it out in the future. We're taking everyone down with us, issue 3 from Image Comics. This is the newest one from Matthew Rosenberg, and it is such a great story. This is all about a guy who was the ultimate villain. He was kind of like the leader of the villain world, and he disappears and goes to hide on some strange island. And when we open up our story, he is actually raising a kid. She's a young girl that is living on the island with him and just wants to play, and he's always busy with all of his like evil science experiments. And so she has a robot buddy who is her compatriot, who she plays with and also who kind of races her. Well, it gets out that he is on this island, and a bunch of people decide that they're going to go after him, and in the process of them doing that, there's destruction on the island, and so the robot and the young girl attempt to escape, trying to get away from everything to keep her safe. And they are caught by one of the evil organizations, henchmen essentially, and it's like one of the factions of this evil organization, another villain. And we're gonna figure out, because there is something interesting about this girl and something about this robot that is very curious. And as we move along the story, we get little bits and pieces of what it is, and maybe some hints about some connections to the villain world for this girl who didn't know her dad was an evil villain until the last issue. So we're gonna see how that goes. You'll Do Bad Things, issue 3 from Image. This is the newest one from Tyler Boss when you put Matthew Rosenberg and Tyler Boss together, you get the What's the Furthest Place from Here team, which has been a great series from the two of them for so long. This, with Tyler, is a great story about a man who is writing. He's known for writing the world's greatest true crime novel. He did this great novel that kind of led to the capture of a serial killer and made sure that he got put behind bars. And he is now trying to write a new story. And the problem is that he doesn't want to write crime and murder anymore. He wants to write romance, but he really can't do it. And every time he starts to write a romance story, it ends up becoming morphing into a murder, and it just becomes a really dark, twisted story. And that would be a big enough problem if it wasn't for the fact that all of those murders keep happening. And it's is he the one that's doing them? Is it something about the way when he writes them that they just happen in the real world? Is he predicting the future? We don't really know, and neither does he. But we're getting our first little inclination of what may be going on as this story unfolds. And I cannot wait to see what happens. This book is so good. The twists and turns in it have just been fantastic. Dark Pyramid issue 3 from Mad Cave. This is all about a woman who is engaged to a guy who is one of those extreme climbers, and he's doing a live stream of him climbing this I believe it's Mount Denali, but he's doing a live stream of him climbing this massive mountain, and in the process of it, he suddenly disappears in the middle of the live stream, and now she's out there trying to find him. So is everybody else that was following him. So there's this massive crowd of people there, and when she gets to the place where he was climbing, everybody's really mean and really weird to her, except they finally, these two police officers offer a place to stay, only for a random girl to break in the middle of the night and tell her she's in extreme danger. And now they are being chased by some really wicked, crazy entity off from the mountains, and they have to make their way up to the mountain to try to save her fiance and also get away from this darkness that is chasing them. And I don't know if either of those things are gonna work out for them, but these two girls are definitely doing their best. Crushed Up, issue 3, also from Mad Cave. This is totally not the way I thought this book was going to go. I thought it was just going to be about people in a submarine that were struggling with water pressure. But it turns out that's not it. This is all about a world where we've kind of destroyed the earth, and so these people are inside of a submarine living in the water, and they're trying so hard to find any signs of life that they end up finding some, and they go off to investigate them, only to find out that there's these sporous monsters that have killed everybody on this other sub that was out there surviving. And now, for some stupid reason, they've brought it back to their own submarine, and now that monstrous sporous thing may very well be taking over people on the ship. I like it because it does it back and forth, so it puts us in the middle of the worst of what's going to happen in the action, and then it bounces back to in time with it. And so you always open up with oh my god, how terrible is this going to get? And then you just jump back to where you left off last time, and you're where is this going, and how do we get we know where it's going, how do we get to such a terrible spot? We're slowly catching up the past with the now, and it's gonna end bad. It's just I don't even know if our final girl is gonna make it out, because you're underwater, and so who knows if you can. Out of Alcatraz, issue 3 from Oni Press. This is the story of the people who allegedly escaped from Alcatraz, which is a true story, but this is kind of a new rendering of what could have happened. There was allegedly 3 guys who got on a raft and escaped from Alcatraz. This is them landing, 2 of them land, and meet up with the woman who orchestrated their escape. only to find out that there is somebody who paid for their escape and who gave her all of the stuff, and now they owe a debt to them and they must go work for that. Well, also the other person who escaped that they think didn't make it is on the hunt for them now too. Some FBI agents are on the hunt for them, and also they have made the mistake of going out in public and getting caught by some people who now also are trying to make them do things for them. And so it's this constant struggle of, is anybody ever really free, and is anybody ever not going to feel like the world is coming down on them, and can you ever really escape from the prison that you're in? Really well written, great story, can't wait to see where it goes. There's so many different layers. Everybody's kind of in their own little prison and in their own little cage, and so it's great to see how it all balances and parallels in the stories. Blade Forger, issue 3 from Mad Cave. This is a really big new universe from the people who wrote We Live. I guess wrote Andrew We Live a few years back. The Miranda brothers. And in this world, basically, the ruler of the world has to be judged, like, has to become that. Like, you become the ruler of this world by winning in a sword battle in, like, a gladiator arena. And each 5 years, like, there's a new battle for it, and for the last, like, decades upon decades, the same emperor has won, and now he's trained his daughter, but she wanted nothing to do with him, so she left as a child and went and was raised on her own. And now that it's like the last opportunity for her father to rule, she has come back, only to find out that, like, because she wants to enter this competition, and only to find out that he has no goal other than for her to be ruler. And then we get to fast forward, like, into her actually ruling, and so we're seeing 2 different time periods, and she has a very different take on what the world should be like and how we should accept other people and things like that. And so we're going to see some major upheaval as she starts to run this country in the future. And I can't wait to see exactly what she does with that. Mothra, Queen of the Monsters, issue 3 from IDW. We are having so many great Godzilla stories right now, and I could not be more happy to just see the Godzilla universe constantly going on. And I'm so in love with this Mothra story. It is about 2 teenage girls who are in, like, the now time, and they really have their own struggles. Their world has been impacted by kaiju attacks, and because of it they've kind of fallen out as sisters, and they're very mad at each other, but they are also the only people who can help bring Mothra back, and they end up being pulled into the past to try to find out how to bring back like a young Mothra, like a larva Mothra, because when Mothra dies in their time period, there is no egg already laid, and so they have to go back and try to find a Mothra that they can bring to their time and raise. But every time that they're not in harmony, when they sing the Mothra song, it puts them in other places, and so they keep getting, like, kind of more and more disjointed from each other, and they have to figure out how they can put themselves in harmony in order to bring Mothra to save the day. I love it. It's so cute. We've got Sister Imperator, issue 3 from Dark Horse, and this is from the world of Ghost, the musician. And so this is, Musicians, yes. Yeah, I was like, a band. Well, they only focus on the one in the story. And so, yeah, they only talk about the one guy in this issue. And so, but it focuses on her, which she is a character from, like, the band's world, like the universe of what they've created in the real world. And so this is about a woman who, when she is a young girl, she witnesses her stepfather, who is a preacher, attacking her siblings over and over again, and she decides to do something about it, and then she ends up getting attacked and kicked out of the home, and then they get the siblings are killed, and she gets kind of blamed for it, and so she ends up literally running away and joining the circus, and now she is back in America, and she realizes that she has like this extreme hatred for religion and for the fact that there's like the duality of people saying that they're good people and yet those being the ones who are attacking people. So she's taken it amongst herself to essentially become a vigilante who takes out those people. Meanwhile, she decides to help her boyfriend build out his musical career, where he is also going to be teaching people the dangers of falling in line with what the church is telling them to do. And so she's kind of building that in him, but she feels like it's not doing enough fast enough, so she continues her vigilante ways, which puts a damper on their relationship. It was actually a really good story, and I don't know anything. I mean, I know a little bit about Ghost, but not as much. I didn't know who she was, and so it's a really cool story, and getting to see that character fleshed out. I don't know. She may be fleshed out in the Ghost realm. I don't know. Folktales of the Cryptids from Afterlife Light Comics. This is just a really quick anthology of a couple different, it's got 4 short stories of different cryptids throughout the different cultures of the world. The first one is all about a kid who is getting bullied by a bunch of kids at school, being forced to do their homework, and he doesn't want to do that, and so he runs away from them, and they end up finding themselves with some killer frogs. And then there is a second story about a homeless man, an unhoused man who lives in an old tunnel. And these people go down there and they don't assist him when he asks for help, and they actually let him get attack him, and he ends up becoming something that comes back for them. I think I skipped one. I think there was a second one. Yeah, a second one that's about a family and an evil spirit that's kind of lurking around and following them. It has very Jersey Devil feeling vibes, but is not the Jersey Devil. And you get to see what animal cryptid being it is. And then the last one is about Ginny Greenteeth, and it's about these kids who have to go out and do the fishing for the family, and while they're out there, the younger brother shows up, and he's starts to get pulled into the river by this evil woman who lurks in the waters, and we get to see how they deal with that. So again, just 4 little short stories about cryptid monsters, and if you are into them, you should grab it. Red Range, issue 2 from Dead Sky. This is the story of a guy who is named Range. He wears a red mask, and he's been trying to figure out how to get back to his family and get to his home and kind of rebuild his life after being forced into some vigilante work that he doesn't want to continue in. But in the last issue, when he is captured by some people, they're basically look, you help us, we'll help you. We need to get back to our home as well. And so they start to go on this adventure together. And in this issue, they find themselves going to a world where they're looking for a certain friend of theirs who they think is going to be an ally. But when they get there, there has been a brawl in this tavern, and now they have to figure out who in the tavern can be trusted, and is their friend a good guy or is it a bad guy, and maybe they shouldn't even be looking for this person. And so the journey just gets a little bit bigger every issue as he just wants to get home and yet cannot make it there. Moonshine Bigfoot, issue 2 from Image and the Syzygy imprint. This is kind of like if you mixed Dukes of Hazzard with Bigfoot. And this is all about a Bigfoot who makes moonshine, and he lives in Buzzard County, and him and his girlfriend, who kind of looks like Daisy Duke, go on wild adventures in their car that kind of looks like the one from Dukes of Hazzard. But we learn in this issue that there is also we learned in the last issue that there is an evil organization that is out to capture the moonshine and Bigfoot And they are, in this issue, we get to see a little bit more about the guy that is running it and the way that he kind of has a lot to prove. He's like the young son of the old mastermind. And so he's like, I have to do something to prove that I'm awesome. And also, if this moonshine is letting people know that our organization exists and that this Bigfoot is real, then we need to stop it. Meanwhile, the sheriff has gone missing. We learned that Moonshine Bigfoot has a buddy who is actually a ghost. And it's cute because his girlfriend can't see it, but they always say the same things and like agree with each other. And Moonshine Bigfoot's like, I'm going to have to do what I can, I guess, to find the sheriff because that's my buddy, even though we're always against each other. Also, like the guys that are on the always trying to capture Moonshine Bigfoot are also like helping him solve mysteries. It's so cute because it's like they're all like not enemies, but they're also like against each other. It's like they all just want to play the game of chasing each other. Again, kind of like the Dukes of Hazzard. Really fun adventure story, comedy, parody, all the things that needs to be to just make you laugh out loud. Great British Bump Off, Quilt or Be Quilt. This is issue 2 from Dark Horse. This is a new story in the Great British Bump Off world. Another just fantastic detective story with our adorable detective who is quite not great at her job most of the time. And so Shauna has wanted to go on a vacation. She borrowed her uncle's barge. She goes onto a canal street, gets onto a canal, gets it stuck and scrapes up the boat, and is now having to work in a quilting shop in order to make money to pay for all the damages she did so that she can fix the boat and go on her way. Meanwhile, while she's there, there becomes a big mystery when the electric vehicle owned by her shop owner catches on fire, and they're trying to figure out what exactly could have caused it. She believes that it is the people from the other quilting shop, her rivals, who have come after her. And so she sends Shauna to go work there undercover to find out stuff. But when their basement gets flooded and they think it was the other quilting shop that attacked them, Shauna realizes that there may be something more going on in this town than anybody is aware of. This is fantastic. It's going to be it's always such a great mystery. The Great British Bump Off, the first volume was so good, and we are seeing the same thing again this time with just a lot of fun and a great story. So check it out. Monster High Pride. This is our annual one-shot from Monster High. That's an anthology of Pride stories. We get 2 in here. The first is about Toralei and Claudine going to math camp over the summer. And if you're reading the Monster High series, you know that they've actually been a couple already, but this goes back and shows us how they actually got together. It shows them go from enemies to friends to a cute little couple, and them doing it all by bonding over math, even though they get there in very different ways. And they learn that sometimes you shouldn't judge people based on the differences that you have, and you should look for those commonalities. And then our second story follows, I can never remember the guys' names, Speldon and Kieran, as they realize that they love each other, that their relationship has been going on for a long time, and they actually say, I love you, for the first time. But because Kieran is a energy vampire, an emotional vampire, he feels that Kieran is an emotional vampire. He feels like he's going to suck all of the power out of Speldon and cause some problems. And so they end up going on a quest to figure out how they can stop that from happening, only to figure out that there's more in the power of love there than they think. And so really cute. Definitely check it out if you're a Monster High fan. It's a must-have for your collection. The Trident of Aurelia is back with the Quota Zone, and this is issue 1 from Battle Quest Comics. You definitely do need to understand what has happened in the Trident of Aurelia series to go on. There are trades of the previous, but there's also a really great recap. So if you do decide you just want to jump into this, they actually have this nice double-page spread that tells you all the characters and all the information about the previous stuff. But basically, this is a world of mermaids, and in this volume, we are seeing a woman who is the sister of the former queen of the Corazon, the mermaid world, and she believes that she was the next in line to succeed as the queen of the mermaid world, that she should have always been queen, but she was born 1 minute after her sister, and so she's like, I should take over, and now my niece has taken over, and I don't think she should be the ruling person. I think I should get it. And so she shows up to Corazon to ask for the trident and the crown, only to find out all the stuff that we know if you've been reading the series, that Corazon does not currently exist because of the war that happened there, and that most of the naiads are actually frozen. And so they come to the decision, the ruling council of all the different worlds comes to the decision that whichever one of them can bring the mermaids or the naiads back to life and restore the city, that's the person who deserves to be the queen. And so we are going to see this series unfold as the two of them go head to head to figure out what the right thing for the people actually is. The Pale Night, issue 1 from Mad Cave. This is going to be a very big fantasy-style horror adventure, because we are following along as a knight returns from crusades, essentially, that he's on, and all he wants is to get home to his family. And all along the way, he's essentially hearing about the plague that's festering amongst people and causing boils and destruction. And he's like, I want to get home, only to get home and find out that his son has been infected with the plague, and he doesn't know what to do, and he feels like it's not fair because he feels like he's being punished by a god he no longer believes in, and he wants to figure out what exactly it is that he can do. And death shows up at his door and is like, I will make you a deal if you want to save your son. And we are going to see what that deal entails and him go on that adventure as this story just begins. Can I say the name of this book? Is it okay? I'm going to say it. If you're still watching this and you have a sensitive curse word ears, cover your ears, because this book is called The Goddamn Tragedy. And it is from Oni Press, and it is, whenever they have bad, foul language in the thing, I always feel like I get a preface.
Goddamn's a bad word anymore.
I mean, I know, but it is to some people, and it is to kiddos, and so I'm just saying, if you're watching it and you have sensitive, curse word ears, big cusses, here's one. This is a one-shot from Chris Condon, who does that Texas Blood, and it is a really great story. This is all about a family that the dad decides that they need to go out west and be a part of the gold rush, and the mom is telling the daughter, the daughter's like, I don't think we should go, and the mom's like, doesn't matter what you want, you need to respect your dad, you need to go on this adventure. And they end up joining a group of people who are going, and one day, all along the journey, a traveler comes up to the dad and is like, I have this map that you should take. It'll take you through the mountains, you'll get there faster, and you'll be able to dig up more gold and have a better experience than the other people. And he takes the map and pays the guy, and the wife is like, we didn't have the money for that, and we shouldn't leave the group. And he's like, we're gonna do it. And then essentially they do go on this journey, and they end up in snow-covered mountains, and the dad kind of starts to lose his mind. And all of this is the story that is being recounted to us by one of the people who is the sole survivor of this journey. And we know that at the beginning. And I am not going to tell you who it is. And you are going to have to read the book to figure it out. But it is a great twisted tale. Like I said, a one-shot horror adventure through the mountains. We've got Detective Kaiju issue 1 from Massive. This is from the world of Quested. If you have not read Quested yet, you totally should, especially if you are a fan of I Hate Fairyland. It's got very similar vibes. But you do not have to have read Quested at all to jump in on Detective Kaiju. This is completely from the character appeared there, but you don't have to know that story. Detective Kaiju is in fact exactly that. He is a kaiju who is a detective. He's been dealing with a lot of the problems going on, people attacking people, trying to save the day. Only problem is that because he's a kaiju, a lot of people freak out and panic and run away, and every time he gets attacked or anything. He always has problems with it. Well, he comes out of the ocean one day and he gets attacked by a bunch of tanks and people, and it ends up putting him in the hospital. And when he is woken up in the hospital, it is by his ex, who is, of course, the femme fatale, who comes in to tell him, you know, get your life together. Some stuff's going on. You got to figure it out. And when he returns back to his office that day, the light is on, and he learns that there is a mysterious stranger waiting for him inside and some dangers afoot. And he is going to be, of course, the only one who can investigate this mystery. A great little crime noir story with a kaiju. Two things I love put together, a little bit of humor. It's going to be great. You should read it. Dark Honor, issue 1 from Image Comics and the SysG imprint. This is the story of a crime family who is facing problems in New York. I guess it's all of the crime families facing problems in New York during COVID. And a man has come in and is like, now that everybody is weakened, I'm going to take over. All of your families kind of belong to me now. All of your crime, everything is mine. And they're like, how are we going to fix this? We need somebody to come in who can stop it. And they realize that the best person to do that is a woman who is the daughter of one of the crime lords, and she is currently in prison. Well, lucky for them, because of COVID, they're releasing people who are almost done with their sentences who have good behavior. And so she gets released from prison as long as she doesn't get involved in all of the crime and gambling again. But of course, we all know that that's the first thing she's going to get involved in. And so she comes back to her underworld life immediately and finds out that all of this is happening, and we're going to see if she's able to stand up for it. I will say 10 points to this book for being one of the only comics on the shelf that actually has a blurb on the back of the issue to tell you what it's about. We need this. Publishers, if you are still watching, or if you are watching at all, do this. This is a thing. You have a back of a book. Most of the time it's empty. If you have an empty back of your book, you should be putting a blurb on it. Customers don't know what your book is about. Readers don't know. They don't have solicits in front of them. They have no way of picking it up. There's so many books on the shelf. If you want to have people buy your book, this is it. Literally had a customer say, I'm buying it just because there's a blurb on the back, and I want to reward that behavior. So keep doing it. Keep doing it, guys. Put those blurbs on the back of your books. Sleep, issue 1 from Image Comics. This is going to be a wild story, and I'm really excited to see where this goes. This is all about a young man, probably in his 20s, it's like post-college, in a small town, and he wakes up one day, and his front door is open, and he hears that there was this massive attack in the city, but he doesn't really know what happened, but it was all near his house, and his cat is missing, and he's kind of like, oh man, that's a lot of tragedy. But then he just goes about his day and ends up going to church to talk to his friend. And when he does that, a famous singer who is from the town has now returned, and he's friends with him. He's somebody he knew in high school, and they're rebuilding that friendship starts immediately in this story. But we learn that everybody in the town has something. There's every character immediately is well defined as to what archetype of the town that they play, and yet everybody seems a little suspicious. Meanwhile, we still have this monstrous creature, and he talks about scratches on his door and the porch and all the things that happen. He starts to see this woman putting blood or paint or something on the walls, and he's like, what is happening? All kinds of weird stuff, none of which is defined or explained in this issue, and we're just going to kind of see it roll out. I like it because it kind of has a little bit of that J. Stevens feel, in that it's more of the cartoonish style art for something that's so dark, and so it has that automatic contrast to it, and I can't wait to see what the crap is going on, especially because this is some big giant monster, and the tagline for the book is, when he falls asleep, our nightmare begins. So it's is he the monster? Is this monster a thing? We don't know yet. We know nothing. We just met everybody in the town so far, and everybody in the town is problematic, so we're gonna find out. Robo-Wolf, issue 1 from Dark Horse. This is wild. This is about a literally anthropomorphic robo-wolf And he is on a heist. Here we go. I know, Matt, you're going to love it. He is on a team of people who are doing a heist. They've just stolen over $1 million. His team is wild. Everybody is crazy. And yet there's a heart behind the reason why he's doing it. And I love it because in this you see, like, when they introduce you to all the people on the team, you actually see it while, like, the news reporters are covering it. But you see each of their, like, villains watching that news report and realizing, like, that's where their, you know, arch enemy is and wanting to go after them. But in reality, this whole story is built around the fact that Robo-Wolf's daughter, Lindsay, had a birthday, and he brought her a screwdriver as a present because he thought that she would like it. And all she really wants is to spend time with her dad. And he misses that memo 100%. Guys, I'm going to tell you right now, this is just jingle all the way with a robotic anthropomorphic wolf. I am so happy. I should just put it in my Pigs of the Week so I can say that. But I'm going to tell you, it is literally like, he's like, oh, my child is sad. Because she wants the most coolest possible awesome toy. And when he goes out to get this cool awesome toy, something terrible happens. And now he is trying to make up for it and save the day for Lindsay. Hijinks ensue. Big crime. Big problems. Big, awesome art and bright colors. Robo-Wolf, man, he's here to save the day and probably mess it up all at the same time. It's going to be great. Crimson, whatever happened to Crimson Justice, issue 1 from Mad Cave. Mad Cave, man, 2 weeks of piling up some awesome books for us and some new releases. This is all about a guy who, like, this, honestly, it starts out, like, with this guy that's, like, sitting in a coffee shop, and he's talking about how there used to be a lot less problems in their town when they had a superhero team. And he's telling the guy that runs the coffee shop, like, don't you just think it was so cool when we had Crimson Justice and he used to fight against mayhem and he was, like, making all of the world a safer place. And then the guy's like, dude, that's a fairy tale. It never happened. It was just something that the police said so that we would not do crime. And he's like, no, because then it brought up all these other superheroes. And he was like, none of those people were superheroes. They were humans who dress up in costume. Like, they got hurt. Bad things happened to them. Like, we don't need that. Well, guess what? Mayhem is back. And he has killed the former police chief, and now we are in desperate need of some kind of superhero. But Crimson Justice has disappeared, and so have all the others. In fact, we get to see what happened to some of them in this issue, and it doesn't look like it's going, their lives are going very well right now. But we are going to see, if the villains come back, does that mean the heroes have to? And what exactly happened to Crimson Justice? We're going to find out. Very well written. Not surprising. It's Frank Thierry. It's very well, like, the concept is so cool. And really, really awesome. Can't wait to see where it goes. All right. I've got 3 picks of the week. So before I do, I'm going to take another drink of my wine. Again, it's Barton Guestier Bordeaux. Holy cow, that's a completely different thing all over again.
It's very spicy.
And it's very spicy now. Oh my gosh. I don't think I've had a Bordeaux that was that spicy.
Ooh.
That's great. I love spicy wines.
It tastes like a spicy Pinot Noir.
It does, because it's so light. Like, it does have, like, a Pinot Noir feel. Mm-hmm. But spicy, which there's not enough spicy Pinot Noirs. So thank you, France. All right. Okay, so this is the most random selection of picks of the week ever, but I've got to do it. So, welcome to Twilight issue 3 from Dark Horse and the World of Minor Threats. First of all, Gail Simone wrote this, so no surprise that it's here, but I absolutely could not stop loving everything in this issue as it happened. So this is about a lobster who was a superhero, but not a very good one. If you know the Minor Threats worlds, it's always like it's the minor heroes and villains of a world, and none of them are great. And his life didn't really pan out, and his wife is like, you need to go out and make some money. So he starts doing the convention circuit, and so he's at Comic-Cons, and it's absolutely hilarious because if you have been at a Comic-Con in, like, if you're an industry person who's ever had to go to a Comic-Con, you know this feeling. But he also describes, like, all of the other, like, would-be, has-been, never actually made it as heroes who are in this artist alley trying to, like, sell prints and stuff of themselves. And it is so ridiculous. There's one guy called, is he on this page? I want to see. Yeah, this guy down here on the bottom. They call him Nine Panel. And he's essentially Rorschach from The Watchmen. And it's so funny because they're like, oh yeah, let me see if it says, oh my god, does it say? Oh yeah, well, where did it, years later he struck gold and he was a lead character in some Brits epic comic. Sorry, graphic novel. Only he thinks the book was a hit because of him. Wants to be called the hero formerly known as the Point. No one decided. We just all started calling him by what he looked like. A sequel never came. I'm like, it's so great. Anyway, and there's just so many great characters in here. While they're at this Comic-Con, some villains break into it, and they are people who became villains because they think there's too much superhero content in the world, and they don't want any more superhero movies, and they want to purify all media of comic book related culture. And so they come to this place and they take all these Comic-Con people hostage, and he finds out that his daughter, who he thinks hates him because he's like a loser, is at this Comic-Con, and so he has to save his daughter from all these people, and so he actually has to try to become a hero, and he teams up with the people from a cooking show that are constantly trying to pay him for his body because he's a giant lobster, and they want to just cook him, and he's like, okay, well, these are the only people that actually have, like, weapons and no qualms of, like, morality because they run a cooking show. And so it's absolutely hilarious. It's fantastic. Such great satire to our industry and to the way that the outside world looks at our industry. And yet it's Gail Simone, so there's more heart in it than anything. And it's so fantastic. Great job, Gail. And, check it out. Second of all, Mommy Blog. This is a one-shot from Ninth Circle. I believe you would have seen it probably featured on Santiago Saturday, probably. So good. This is about a woman who is a mom, and she really just wants to be accepted by the other moms. And so she has a mom blog, and she's like really just trying to become like mommy of the year, really wants them to love her. And so she just moved to this new neighborhood after leaving the city, and she's trying to get in with the clique of moms at the school who get to do all the fundraising and all the dances and the moms that every school has that kind of run like the PTO and all the other stuff, but like are the elite group of moms. And so she's like, I have to be the one. So she kind of cultivates this idea that this dentist in town is kidnapping children and killing them. And kids do start disappearing. They're getting, I guess she doesn't say they're killing them, they're just kidnapping them. And like all these kids are disappearing. And so you're like, oh man, maybe that really is the case. And then she starts making sure, she wants to make sure that her daughter's always happy, and that the mean boy that attacks her is not getting away with it. And she might, in fact, be a psychopathic killer. It's so good. It's so well done. I am going to just show you one picture of it because you have to see it. It is so good. Just to see the duality of this nature of this character. Marguerite Bennett's way of writing it is so biting and funny, and yet so great. If you've ever known any of those moms groups, it's so well done. It's absolutely great. It's horror, it's comedy, it's again a satire. It's got all the great things. A predator is afoot. Mommy's gonna take care of you. Don't you worry. You gotta check it out. And it's a one shot, so you only gotta read one. And then lastly, Assorted Crisis Events number 3 from Image Comics. Holy crap, this issue. Oh my god, I literally finished this issue and I had to text like 4 people that I knew read this issue and talk to them about it. this assorted crisis events is an anthology that just kind of deals with like the crises we face in the real world in kind of a fantastical way. And so this is the story of two towns from two different dimensions, and they're parallel tracks. And one we decide is called Hearth 1, and one we'll call Hearth 2. And in both of them are kind of in a world where the planet is kind of dying and there's a lot of problems. And the people of Hearth 1 believe that the motto of the town, love thy neighbor as themselves, means that they should all come together and vote on ways that they could maybe give up a little bit themselves, but help each other in the process. And because they do that, they are able to save their hearth from all the destruction that's going. And like, maybe they don't actually stop the world from being destroyed, but they do actually like slow the process down. Meanwhile, the people of Hearth 2 think that the slogan, love thy neighbor as themselves, is kind of a little cheesy and hokey, and maybe it's kind of a loss of themselves. And so they come together and they vote not to do any of those things, and that they should all kind of like each their own in the situation. Well, their world catches on fire and becomes toxic, and they are pushed out of Hearth 2, and they come to Hearth 1 because of all of the dangers in Hearth 2, and they are welcomed by their counterparts and taken in. And then there's so many of them that it starts to become a burden on the supplies that they have, and the mayor of the town reaches out to the federal government and the state government to try to get help, and they say that's too bad, you're on your own. And the people start to think that maybe the crazy person in town, who's always been the mean, absurd one who says we don't need to help other people, maybe he's actually onto something, and maybe all of his pitches that these people are the problem, maybe that's true. And so when they have an election for a new mayor, he decides to run for mayor on the platform that the Hearth 2 people are the problem, and that they should not be allowed citizenship in Hearth 1, and that they should be outcasted. And as the process is happening, they start to push them all out into tents. And the mayor, the current mayor, the good one, goes out and buys all the tents for the people, and then they start to be treated like they're criminals, and rumors come up that they're even eating the pets of the Hearth 1 people, and all of these crazy, absurd things start happening belief system wise, and they start pushing all these people out, and suddenly now their town is on fire, and they think that the idea of loving your neighbor is the problem, and that maybe we should just not trust those people, and that they're the bad guys, and that we're the good ones, and we're the only good ones, and those other people from other hearths are just the problem all along. And now our world is in destruction, and everybody kind of finds that the Hearth, like all the Hearth 1 people start to become angry and mean and attacking of the others, and the Hearth 2 people start helping each other and realizing that they're all in this together, and the world needs people like them to maybe find the heart in everything. And it is so freaking good. You only have to read this issue. Again, it's an anthology, so it doesn't matter what happened in any of the other issues, but dear God, best single issue at the Eisners next year, 2026, Eisner Committee, whoever you are, this issue, Image, submit it. Absolutely best issue of the week, best issue of the month of May. Like, holy crap, Dennis Camp, you had a lot to say and you nailed it. It's so freaking good. Everybody grab this issue and read it, and remember to love your neighbor as yourself, and be kind to all hearthlings. It's the least we can do. I've got the massive pile. It's a massive pile. I know I have to move. I can't get it all in there. There are 65 books in this pile that I read today to tell you all about. And I hope that you find 65 new books to add to your pull list, or at least one or two. There's a couple other books in stock this week, only a couple after that, so I'm just going to run through them really fast. The Curse of Shirley Johnson from Spawn Universe came out last week, actually. Check it out. It looks wild. The Killer is back with a Volume 2, Affairs of the State Volume 2. I actually do need to finish reading this. I read part of it. I loved this series, so I'm super excited for that. Ghostbusters Dead Man's Chest is back again. This is that new Ghostbusters universe with the new series. I'm really excited for this. This is Sherlock Holmes, the Dark Detective, and it is the Knights of Frankenstein. This is issue 1 of our new volume of Sherlock Holmes from IPI. I'm going to be reading that too. My Little Pony Generation 5's Greatest Hits. If you are loving the new My Little Pony Gen 5, this is going to have stories from all of them. You need to check it out. Honestly, this is just here. It's Vampirella issue 2, but it's just here for that Ginny Frizen cover. Oh my god. Ginny Frizen drawing Vampirella is always my favorite thing to look at. Werewolf by Night issue 10 is out. Red Sonja versus Army of Darkness issue 2. Peacemaker presents the Vigilante double feature issue 3. Magic issue 5 is out. Infinity Watch issue 5 as well. Green Arrow hits issue 24, which is fantastic. Cable Love and Chrome issue 5. Absolute Wonder Woman hits issue 8 this week. And Absolute Martian Manhunter issue 2. It is 2, right? I'm not like that far behind. No, 3. I was right. Okay, it is 3. Oh my gosh. It's so cool to look at and read. Avengers issue 26. Daredevil Cold Day in Hell issue 2. Doom Division issue 3, Green Lantern issue 23. Mr. Terrific is back just in time for the Superman movie, which he's allegedly supposed to be in. So we've got a new series to introduce you to him, Metamorpho issue 6. Speaking of Superman, New Champions number 5, Rat City number 14, Gunslinger Spawn hits issue 43, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker issue 4. We've got Predator vs. Spider-Man issue 2, Spider-Boy 19, Rogue the Savage Land issue 5. We've got Giant Size X-Men issue 1. These are the redoings of those giant size classic moments in Marvel history with Miss Marvel actually at them. Uncanny X-Men issue 15, Wolverine and Kitty Pryde issue 2, Ultimate Spider-Man number 17, The Immortal Thor issue 23. And then we've got some trade paperbacks, most of which sold this week, actually, so I just have 2 to show you with Floyd Rivals Volume 3, which is issues 13 through 16. The Wolverine, the current Wolverine series, the newest one, this is Volume 1 of that, which will have issues 1 through 5 in it of the new Saladina Med run. And then Yucatan 1512. This is a story of an expedition of Spanish soldiers sailing in the Yucatan Peninsula in the legendary city of Mayan gold and what happens to them once they land there. All right, and then we got a present. This is exciting. This is from our buddies at Mad Cave. I'm super excited. I guess you don't need to really see the address to Mad Cave Studios, so but this is I'm stoked. This is a really cool prize that I have not actually opened. So that's just a piece of cardboard. There is some candies in here, and they're all conveniently Japanese candies. I wonder what that could mean. Why would there be Japanese candies in a Mad Cave box, you ask? Well, it could be because of what's in this t-shirt. Also, thank you, Anna, for knowing that we wear smalls when you send your package out and sending us a small of the new Nakama Press from Mad Cave. If you don't know what that is, Mad Cave is launching their own manga imprint. I'm so excited. This is the tagline is your gateway to global storytelling, and so you can see that on the back right there, and all the different languages is super cool. I'm so stoked for this shirt. I'm so stoked for this press. And we're gonna see what's in this cool thing. Also, I love this. This paper is actually a Nakama paper. So Nakama Press paper. So it's actually all of the characters and stuff on it are like from panels of Nakama Press books that don't exist yet. So it's kind of a cool thing to see. And there's a Nakama Press card and an art card that has some advertisements for some of the books that are coming our way soon. And then there is a bookmark. What? They always have fantastic bookmarks in the Mad Cave world. And oh, I'm so excited. Thank you, Anna, for this being the one you sent me, because this is the one I'm most stoked about. This is Indigo. This is all about a girl named Ella who's a reporter for an occult magazine, living what appears to be a normal life. I'm just going to read you the whole solicit. She's not the best at getting along with people, but she has a special ability which enables her to communicate with plants and animals. One day, Ella learns the strange death of her college professor and mentor, and instinct draws Ella to investigate the real cause of his death, which gradually unfolds a series of incidents which surpass her wildest imagination. As she investigates further, Ella encounters people who slowly guide her closer to the truth, which causes alternate forces to try and stop her pursuit of fulfilling her destiny, to decide the fate of humanity, Earth, and the universe. I am so stoked for this. Such a gorgeous looking book. I'm going to show you. Oh my gosh, look at this.
Release dates on this stuff?
Oh, sorry. You asked me a question. I was looking at the back of the book. I don't. Let me see. It's probably on my. Maybe it's on my card. No. I know. I think I started ordering them, like at least on initial orders. But I don't know. But it is going to be coming soon, and it is going to be this. They are going to be doing manga and manhwa, and manfra. So we're going to have a lot of stuff coming soon. This is. I'm super excited. It's going to be great. I'm so stoked. Thank you, Mad Cave. Thanks, Anna. I'm so excited. Thank you. I'm going to read that immediately. So, and I love this paper. Look at that now that I can stretch the whole thing out. That's so cool. Printing your like comic panels on a page of paper that you wrap, like wrapping paper. So great. All right. That's all I have for you. Don't forget, events coming up for the month of June will be on the June calendar, which is coming out tomorrow. So check our social media for that. Thank you for tuning in and for enjoying all of these books. I hope, again, like I said, that you found some great titles that you can add to your pull list at your local comic shop, or at least that you can check out here at Bat City. Until we see you again next Sunday night, have a great week. We'll see you on Wednesday for New Comic Book Day. And as always, happy reading, everyone. Bye.